Yes. And you know what? New to the podcast world, and I will say this, it's not as easy as people may think. It takes a lot of work. If you're going to do it well, it takes a lot of work. You got to do your research. So I had a couple guests on. I definitely got to get you on now for sure. I got to get you on the
one. So we gotta figure that out.
We'll do it. I've been asking you questions. You got any questions for me, man? Like,
I've got so many questions for you. I've got so many questions for you. I wanted to ask you, you deal with intense pressure and anxiety when you're playing, when you're preparing. I mean, the preparation of an athlete, I've got friends that are incredible athletes too, and now you're a friend too. And it's like, you deal with intense pressure. What do you do when you're having intense pressure and stress? Because I think what you do could help a lot of people.
Well, the first thing I think about whenever I put pressure on myself are the people that love me and care about me, right? Yeah. So, I think about a lot of people, and listen, in sports, in team sports, you play for the person next to you, you play for your teammates, that's all important. But the core of it starts with the people that helped you get to where you got to, right? And I owe it to them to first own the opportunity that I have. My parents have made a ton of sacrifices for me. My sisters and brothers have sacrificed a ton of time that my parents could have spent with them when my parents are taking me. So I realize all of that stuff. So I channel all that energy into me understanding that, hey, listen, I've worked really hard to get here, but this is still the game that I love. This is still the game that I love to play and that I learned to play playing at Nathan Phillips Square in Toronto till 3 a.m. in the morning when I was 4 or 5 years old. This is the same game that I learned playing shinny at Summerlee outdoor rink in Toronto till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. This is still that game. But understanding that, like, I can't be afraid to make a mistake. I can't be afraid to fail. I'm not afraid to fail. So, listen, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, they don't become who they are without taking the shot. Michael Jordan and Kobe aren't afraid of missing a shot, right? They only thinking about making it. So for me, that's the difference between being one of the great players and one of the good players and one of the okay players is betting on yourself. And that's one thing that I always try to stress with a lot of the young athletes that follow me, that watch me, young entrepreneurs, business people. Bet on yourself. It's got to be calculated. You got to put the time in. You got to prepare yourself for where you want to be and for that level that you want to get to. But when you get there, you've done everything you can to prepare. You put in all the work. All you got to do is trust your instincts and trust your ability. And you know what? Sometimes it's going to go your way. Sometimes it won't. But if you think about that, it's never going to happen. So, but I can't sit here and say that being in the Stanley Cup final, being in those big moments, that you don't feel that pressure, but I don't. I look around and I say, I prepared for this moment more than anybody else, and I'm going to take my shot. So you got to believe in yourself, but you have to be willing to understand that I'm willing to take the shot. Maybe the guy next to me isn't, maybe the guy across from me isn't, but I'm taking that shot, and I'm willing to deal with whatever comes after it.
Yeah, I love that, man. That's great advice. What would you say is the toughest thing that you've ever had to go through? What did you learn from it, and how did you break through it?
Moving away from home. When I was 15 years old and I left my family, that was really, really tough for me because, I didn't have hockey bloodlines in my family, right? I didn't have, my dad claims that he played hockey. He didn't. He was horrible at it. But, I didn't have an uncle or a brother or anybody who had played high-level hockey, played college hockey, played university hockey. So to understand the culture of the sport, I only really understood it through the minor hockey that I played and watching it on TV. So when you get to the pro level, it's just different. It's a different understanding. When you move away from home to play hockey, it's different. It's like, oh man, like this becomes real. And the one thing that I realized, I remember like the first time I felt sick and I was away from home and I was going through different things in my life, whether it was with teammates, whether it was with, people in hockey that I was going through stuff with. The first time my parents came down the highway and they're like, PK, we'll support you, but if you want to come home, we're here for you. That's what parents are supposed to do. They're supposed to comfort you. But in the back of my mind, I said, this was my dream. I want to play hockey. I want to do this. No one's going to take this away from me because this is really what I want to do. And from that moment on, I realized that when I had experiences in my life, whether it be in hockey or in my personal life, that those were things that I wasn't willing to share with my parents. I learned to deal with things on my own. I learned to control my emotions better. I learned to understand that, like, if this is something that you want to do, sometimes you got to eat your pride. Sometimes you have to know how to get ahead and how to work with people, but also sometimes how to take shit. Like, sometimes you have to in life. And I think that sometimes people don't understand that you have to make sacrifices to get forward in life, and they're not always great. They're not always fun. But I learned that I wasn't going to look somewhere else for people to comfort me. I learned that I had to comfort myself. And like you said, comfort myself through thoughtfulness, comfort through myself through reading, through meditation, through deep breathing, all of these things. And it served me well. I developed really thick skin, and you can walk through life alone, understanding that you can deal with things in a rational way.
I love that. I think that's such a powerful message right now, because I think about that a lot as well, that like everything we're looking for other people to do for us, we need to start doing that for ourselves. And it's like, whether you want more love, or you may want more attention, or you want more support, and we can all feel lonely right now. And it's almost like this is a great time to start being that, doing that, making it happen for ourselves, because we're forced to right now. Tell me about what would you say has been the closest you felt? My podcast is called On Purpose, and we'll have you on when you're in LA. And so I want to ask you a question. What do you feel is your purpose right now? And how has it evolved?
Man, that is such a great question. To me, my purpose, I realized my purpose when I was 18 years old. When I was 18 years old, I realized that my purpose was much bigger than just playing in the National Hockey League. And it was bigger than just playing hockey. I was playing the World Junior Championships in Pardubice, Czech Republic, representing Canada. We won a gold medal in Pardubice. And then when I was 18, turning 19, we played on home soil in Canada. We played in Ottawa, and we won a gold medal in Ottawa. And it was a great tournament for me. I played very, very well. I was definitely one of the better players on our team. And I remember I got back to Toronto after that, and this little Indian kid came up to me with his mom, and the woman goes, PK, I remember I'm 18 at the time. I'm 18 years old. She goes, PK, I just want to let you know that, you're a great hockey player, but you're an inspiration to my son. Like, he just started playing hockey because of you. And I was just like, that was the first time I had realized that I could have that impact on someone's life. And to fast forward now, 13 years later, it's much more than just getting large contracts. It's much more than winning a Norris Trophy or individual trophies or all-star games. And listen, I want to win a Stanley Cup, but it's much bigger than that even as well to me, because these are people's lives. Giving a child hope in his life is the ultimate success for me. And that's something that I can't share with every player that I play with or play against in the National Hockey League, because they don't look like me, right? And so for me, definitely my purpose has been to impact and have the largest and greatest impact on the sport and on kids and my peers as I can. So that started with my foundation that I started when I was 23 years old. I made a $10 million pledge to the Montreal Children's Hospital. We've helped thousands and thousands of families and kids. I started my Blue Line Buddies program in Nashville, which they continued the program to help underprivileged kids and create an environment for law enforcement, coaches, first responders, teachers in our community to have more of a leadership role and using the hockey platform and the NHL platform to do that. The program now is in New Jersey as well, and we're hoping to have multiple other teams in the league. And we've gotten a lot of attention from other teams that want to do it. And the players, man, you know, to me, this is the largest accomplishment, and it has absolutely nothing to do with me, was to see all the players in the National Hockey League, all my peers. You know, I picked up the phone and called Crosby, Taves, Chara, Bergeron. You know, I called Yossi, some of the top players in our league, Austin Matthews, Connor McDavid, and they all answered the phone and spoke to me about how we can impact the sport in a positive way. And to me, to be at the center of that, to be able to create that synergy, to create that connection with my peers, you know, is a huge win for me. So my impact and what's important for me is to have the greatest impact on people and bringing people together, man. And that's my purpose in the sport.
I love it, man. That's so beautiful. And I can't wait for you to continue inspiring people in that way. That's so awesome to hear, because I think, you know, people who make the effort and sacrifice to become incredible athletes like yourself, you just have the whole world watching you, you know, especially the younger audience. You've got all these young people watching you, and for them to hear that and see that makes it so much more meaningful, because when they go on to become whatever they become, they can have that same energy in their heart. So I love that message, man. That's beautiful.
Hey, Jay, listen, because I'd love to keep you for another 5 hours. Do you have a final thought for all the fans listening? Just a final thought to leave them with. We've talked so much about so many great things on this, and you know, I'm hoping to get this video and keep it for a long time and share it. But just a final thought for the fans, especially during this time with everything.
Yeah, my final thought to everyone would just be, don't get consumed by the noise, and just focus on making the difference that you want to make. But don't get caught up in the noise. Don't get caught up in the mini battles. Like, there's a much bigger battle at stake, and that's what we've been talking about today. The more important stuff, the really powerful stuff, the difference you can make. Get focused on that, making a real change. Don't get lost in the noise. There's too many things trying to distract us and trying to get us away from what really matters. And keep trying to focus in your life on what's really essential, what really matters, what's really critical, because that's what makes the difference.
Awesome. Well said. Think Like a Monk. That's Jay Shetty's book. Where can fans and when can fans get it?
Absolutely. You can all get it on thinklikeamonkbook.com. Says that's it. It's the title of the book, thinklikeamonkbook.com. You can order it or on Amazon or any other platform that you order from. And PK, I want to send a lot of love your way, man. I'm excited to meet you now. It's going to be fun. I'm glad we did this.
100%. We'll do it. Definitely when I get out to Cali. I still don't know when our season's going to start or when training camp is. So I may be out to Cali before the season starts. If I am, 100% we'll connect and do it. But we got to do each other's podcast. That has to happen.
Let's do it. I love that, man. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay.
Thanks,
Jay,
bro.
thanks for being on. Everybody.